Hello everyone. Hi, assalamu alaikum. Hope everybody's safe, sound, healthy, and getting a little back to normal, hopefully. Now, these are some of the most annoying facts of our society today that we seem to be facing, apart from the COVID related annoyances. One of the most common annoyance in our society now is USSD numbers. Every single time you have the government and you have its various organizations like the PTA and all of them announcing a certain USSD code or a helpline number, and then after about a few days or a few months you find out it's no longer operational. Now you have to go and look for a new number, and they don't even bother to update you properly on that. So it's like you're looking for this USSD code of PTA to find out if a certain number is registered under your CNIC, and then you Google it, and or you go to their own website and you find out that it's still the same old number that they have been telling you, but you keep on doing it and you get nothing. You find out it's not working, and then you have to go and ask about 3 to 4 different people around you in order to find out what is the current operational USSD. I mean, seriously, you're supposed to be the government. This is the government USSD code. What are you doing? And similarly, you've got these certain helplines, to find out about vaccines or to find out about your certifications or whatever. And then you call them and then or you message them and you find out that it doesn't work. And you don't even know if you're doing something wrong or if they're actually not working anymore. So, I mean, seriously, why can't you just keep one USSD code and one helpline number operational? Why? Now, the second most annoying thing is our service industries. Our service industries seem to think that we are there to oblige them when they're actually there to oblige us. I mean, they're called service industries for a reason. If there is no demand, they can no longer be operational. And that includes banks, by the way. I mean, if banks actually think that they're here and they're here to stay, then they're wrong, okay? Because when people will suddenly, if we suddenly decide we no longer need banks, I'll see which bank will actually stand operational today, okay? Now, you want us to pay you for services rendered, but you never render us any services, okay? You never notify us if we've got a new card. You do not call us to make sure that we are permitting online transactions when suspicious activity is detected. You do not notify us when fraudulent activity has taken place, okay? And then you actually have the gall to refuse to withhold that transaction or to cancel that transaction or to reverse it when the owner of that money is actually coming all the way to your branch to tell you that this was an unauthorized transaction and this was a fraudulent activity and that I did not give any permission, so just cancel it already. No, you have 24 hours window when you want to cancel a check that is coming into my account or a digital transaction that is actually taking place where it's putting money into my account. Oh, for that you can take rapid steps to suddenly stop everything, and even then you do not notify me. The other party is notifying me that we just sent you money. You don't even bother to notify me that I am getting money from somewhere. But you actually put it on hold at your own discretion. And even that you do not tell me about. So, what the fudge am I paying you for? If a check bounces for some odd reason, no notification. Is there anything that you actually care to notify us about? I mean, you don't even give us our goddamn statements. But you want to charge us and keep on charging us for those so called services that I don't know who you're actually providing to. Okay? You actually hold fraudulent transactions valid. I mean, you actually get a letter from your bank telling you that those fraudulent activities were valid because no anomalies were found, just so that they should avoid paying you your damages for their carelessness. Okay, you know what? It's your responsibility. Okay, as the bank, it's your responsibility. You're the custodian of our money. If you can't even do that much, if you cannot protect our money, then I don't see why we need to put our money in our banks. Then why don't we just put them at home under our beds or under our mattresses or make an underground safe and put everything in there? Why do we need you? And by the way, why do we need to pay you for keeping our money when you can't even keep it safe? So yeah, that is the most ridiculous thing that I've ever heard in my life. Okay? And then another most irritating thing that your bank will do is that every single time you go in there for something, they will ask you for your CNIC so that they can make a copy of it. Hello? You already took our CNIC the first time around when we opened the account, you know. Don't you have your records? Just open your goddamn records and take whatever you want from there. Why do we have to give you the same thing over and over and over again? I mean, seriously, how moronic can you people be? Just hit print, you know, and get as many copies as you want from the original copy that you already have. Why do I have to give you my ID every single time I come to you for even the most slightest of problems or issues or work to be done? And by the way, if you think that you're not responsible for our money, then I think you need to stop doing business with our money, okay? Stop making your investments with our money. And now, telecom service providers. They have this thing about them that not only do they give your number away to telemarketing agencies or telemarketers, you can say, but they have this, it's this insane thing where they will always charge you for some so called alleged pulse activity of some hidden app of theirs that rips you off on a daily basis. And it doesn't matter how much money you pour in. I mean, you haven't even used a single cent worth of it, and you find out that in a week you're wiped out. Your whole balance is gone, and you find out every time you have these messages, coming to you from your service providers where they say that you've used the internet without turning on the internet bundle. Hello, my mobile data is permanently off. Okay, all my background activities of all my apps are off. So what app is it that's having this crazy pulse activity that still seems to rip me off? Why don't you tell me what app it is? Just tell me so that I can turn it off. And then you want us to use your phone banking. You want us to use Jazz Cash and Easy Pesa and stuff like that. But you don't even have the slightest courtesy or etiquette or ethic to protect my number. You do realize that when we're using phone banking, it means our number is crucial information, right? But there you are. You have Mobilink and you have Telenor and you have Ufone and you have all the likes, amongst which Mobilink is probably the worst because they will keep on and on leaking your information. They just breach all your information and then they never take responsibility. Again, this is the service industry. Like, Consumer Protection Act is a joke. Like all the other laws and acts made to protect us, I have found that Consumer Protection Act, in fact, I was surprised to even know that it existed in our country, to be honest, because I've never actually seen it being implemented. And I was hoping that the current government would work on it, but it seems like they just decided to sideline it. I mean, they worked on it in one of the provinces when they were part of just a provincial government. And now when they've become federal, I was actually hoping that they would take it to a national level, but they did zilch. If anything, they just made it worse. We get no protection whatsoever. We get ripped off left, right, and center, and there's no protection whatsoever. I mean, why should we have to go to consumer courts to get something that's automatically ours or to get something that's our right? Why put us through all that? Why not make the laws so strict that, trial or no trial, the company that you're dealing with, the service industry that you're dealing with, should know that they're responsible regardless? When they know that they're responsible regardless, I'll see how they will continue to be so careless about our information or about our rights or about our stuff or about standard, this minimum standard of quality that they're supposed to maintain when it comes to food or when it comes to the way they interact with their clients or when it comes to provision of quality services. They wouldn't go around acting as if we owe them. Now, the other most annoying uh, and factor of our society is the media. Okay, so you would think that with the social media and the internet and everything, you wouldn't be easily fooled, but you get all the more easily fooled. The infiltration, as long as there's a platform that one can use to manipulate the public, it's really it doesn't matter how many kinds of different kinds of media you'll open up in order to look for free information or freedom of speech or whatever it is that you are after. You will get manipulated, because if you have access to it, then there is no way on earth that your government wouldn't have access to it. Okay, and they will obviously, then your media powerhouses, they will have access to it. So the media gives you nothing but lies and fabricated news, and the social media is right now like the hub of fabricated news and lies. And we all know it, like we all know it, and yet we every single time we fall for it. What happened to verifying facts? What happened to actually doing a fact check? But no, what happened to research, like bona fide research? All you people do is we just fall for everything. And then at the end of the day, when the truth does come out, we're so embarrassed that we got fooled by the fabricated narrative, that we actually start attacking the person who brought the truth out, you know, because we're so embarrassed and we don't want to acknowledge the fact that we've been fooled again, like idiots that we are, that we start attacking the person who's actually verifying the truth for us. See, we need to understand that nothing much has changed, okay? We think the times have changed, but you need to realize that the reason why we have revolutions over and over again throughout our civilizational history, and at the present as well, and in the future as well, it will continue to happen. It's because every time after a revolution we settle down, we go back to being complacent. And so the same things that we have fought against come back to society, and they take root once again. And one such thing is the fact that all organizations work together as a powerhouse, you know, to promote lies, to create a narrative, to manipulate public uh, information, to create a whole new artificial world, a bubble in which they have to keep their people in. The amount of worlds and narratives that are created by governments and their allies is just amazing. I mean, even Hollywood cannot create a more convincing act. You know, no con man can supersede your government or your media or your establishment. You know, you have to be one of the best actors in order to enter politics, in order to play the leader role, in order to be a part of your government, to be the establishment's mouthpiece. Yeah, so you actually look for somebody who is an exceptional actor in order for that person to be put in a position where he can rule the common man. Now, one of the other annoying factors of our society today is malice of people. People are so malicious and they're so proud of it. They actually feel so proud when they do something to hurt somebody or when they do something wrong. It's as if they feel that they have not yet achieved anything or they've not accomplished anything in life unless they've actually learned to hurt somebody. Let me tell you one thing, it's actually very easy to do something wrong and it's very easy to hurt somebody, but it's very, very difficult to endure, and it's very, very difficult to always look out for somebody, and it's extremely difficult to always have somebody's back and to always put others first. Okay, so you're not actually accomplishing anything, you're just succumbing to your basic animalistic need. Okay, but actually even animals don't have that. This is something that's unique to humankind. Okay, Narcissism is on the rise. This is also something that's very unique to humankind. You won't find it in any other living creature on Earth or anywhere else. Okay, so everyone is an actor, everyone is an influencer, and everyone is a superstar. The world revolves around everyone. That's what everyone thinks about themselves, that the world revolves around me. There's this me factor that seems to be on the rise in our society today. And it's all to think that it's just a basic act of having a selfie that let that animal loose. Now, number 7, people have no sense of humor. Okay, to them, humor is putting others down, demeaning others, making personal jokes. At least in my society, that's what I see. I mean, I really don't get their sense of humor, okay? Because every single time they open their mouth to make a joke, the only thing that I can think of when I listen to them is, are they trying to insult the other person? Are they trying to offend the other person? Are they making fun of the other person? Are they putting the other person down? Do they have a problem with the other person? Or are they just jealous? Most of the times, actually 9 times out of 10, it actually is an ode to your inferiority complex. That's all I can say. Number 8, guests who want to keep us on our toes, serving them hand and foot. Okay, especially in this heat, where every single person knows that just standing in the kitchen is enough to melt you, okay? I mean, it's not just the heat, as you know, right now it's the monsoon season, so you literally melt, okay? You're like, sweat is like oozing out of every single orifice you can find out of your body, and you're like wet as if you're stuck in the shower, okay? This is how it is. And in this kind of weather, when people come, and they come, and obviously guests are really welcome and everything, but the inconsideration is, as I said, people are so inconsiderate. I understand that when there's a guest at your place, then you have to serve them, and you have to entertain them, you have to take care of them and everything. That's fine. But I mean, like a person like me, I usually tend to do things beforehand. So for example, all the cutlery needed would be there already beforehand. The glasses, the plates, the dishes, everything will be ready to serve, sitting there on the table. You just come and help yourself, right? But it's amazing how there's always this person who will always find something that is not on the table and ask for it, and then you just keep on rushing from the kitchen back and back to the kitchen and back and back to the kitchen, and by the time you could have actually sat down and maybe, especially, okay, for example, if this is lunch hour, right, and you've called people to lunch or to dinner. Now, it's my habit that I never eat with them. Now, but that's the thing. When guests come, they'll keep on telling, "Oh, come and eat. Oh, come and eat. We can't start without you. Oh, come and eat." But the minute you sit down to start to eat, then okay, fine. You have to give them company. "Oh, where's do you have this thing? Can you give me that thing? Can you give me this thing? Can you give me that thing?" I'd rather just than not eat, and you rather than not just disturb me and tell me to sit down and eat in front of you, if you just want me to just bob in and out of the kitchen the whole time. And then the thing that just as soon as you get up to get them whatever it is that they want, then they think that just by saying, "Oh, sorry, we just made you get up again," it's going to be all right. Just by saying that, it's all right. It's not. I mean, so what you're doing, so why don't you just stop and like give it a break for about 5 to 10 minutes already. So that is there. That is something that really, really ticks me off now. And the ninth, which is definitely not the least, okay? In fact, if anything, this should have been the top of the list, and that is getting up close and personal. Invasion of our personal space is a quality that is unique to our people, okay? So on the very first meet, they think that they can ask you everything that there is to know about you, that they think that they actually have the right to ask you about your marital status, your family background, your educational background, your current status in life, your occupation, and then to question you as to why you've made the choices that you've made in life. I mean, that is just amazing, isn't it? That's just amazing. That's something that is unique only to us Desis, the people of the subcontinent. It's like you just even have to like introduce yourself to somebody that, okay, or not, you don't even have to introduce yourself, forget that. You will have somebody just tell you, okay, this is so and so and this is so and so, and like, oh hi, yeah, so tell me, are you married? Like, seriously, what the fudge, man? Well, that is it for now. 20 minutes are up. Well, not that I've timed myself or anything, but I mean, since it's just about 20, let's not make it, let's just keep it a round number. Well, I've enjoyed chatting with you people today. I hope you've enjoyed listening to me, and I'll be back soon. Take care of yourselves, everybody. Relax. Don't stress yourselves. We're surrounded by narcissists. Let's just endure it. Goodbye. Have a good life. Khuda Hafiz.